also very much from that period. Where is the connection between Sheila Ditto and...
You see, initially we find that all of them have perhaps good ideals because they want to work in art, do something meaningful. Even the person who is a failed director in Bombay, everyone has their dreams, but we are often unable to achieve not only in our own eyes what we want to do, and also obviously in the eyes of others in the larger perspective. In the larger perspective, a lot of other factors come into play: your exposure, the media support, your luck. But in your own eyes, if you fall short, somewhere, for example, the character of Gargi, she seems a very sensitive individual. But even her, somehow what they wanted to create at some point of time through their personal relationship, it transpires that maybe it is not so much the creation or the creativity that is important, but more the fact that their survival, their existence, that gains precedence. So I'm trying to sort of converge on an existential reality, that somehow our existence is more important than our essence, eventually.
So this existence, as I saw, these multiple explosions in the background, and
right.
I thought your shirt was bloody.
Yes, you see, actually we changed the costume in the middle of the shots. That's what we've done throughout, even in the beginning in the love making. Normally in continuity sequences, this costume remains the same because it's reality. But we are constantly changing the costumes. With 9/11, the costume changed. And also after that first explosion, it's supposed to be bloody, but that's a different shirt, which looks like that. And the others also, their costumes all change. They change their colors. And they all wear masks, which masks are often taken off, actually.
Okay, but as you ended this film with those explosions in the background, and these people probably not shell-shocked, I'll say, but some kind of trauma is on their face.
Right.
Are you saying these external events will control our life in the future?
We have to rise above that, and I give a slight hint of hope in the child who was being admonished for playing video games, and he made this very cute comment. He says, but everyone is playing games. Everyone is playing the same game. So I'm also playing this game. But the child seems to hold out some hope, because with the most, shall we say, trampled upon character and the most honest character, they sort of converge at the end. So perhaps there might be some hope after all, in spite of the explosions. Because he has put on glasses and he seems to be more mature, and he goes to the iconoclast and they're together. And that's how they see the world, perhaps.
How did you work with the actors in this? Did they intellectualize this?
Yes, the script actually was written by a gentleman called Arun Bhattacharya, you might know. He was a bureaucrat who worked with the then Chief Minister Buddhadev Bhattacharya. And he was a writer. So I gave the story to him and he did the script. But some of the dialogues were also improvised by some of the actors, particularly Gargi's character played by Nandini. She contributed. Then the character of the film director played by Sanjeevan. So I brought some of his persona. Actually, Sanjeevan himself, as a person, was involved in the Naxalite struggle. So I would say that the Sheila Ditto character is modeled on Sanjeevan, who doesn't play himself, because I didn't want him to play himself, but he plays a film director who could be me. So I'm playing him and he's playing me.
Okay.
I'll
open up to the audience.
It was
Thank
really
you.
interesting. The point you made about existence and essence. Do you think that the last two characters, as you said, they come together, the child and the struggler? Do you think that what you're talking about is coming together of essence and existence?
Could be, but it could be that, those whom we sort of criticize as being very compartmentalized, and those whom we criticize as being so iconoclastic that they're going anywhere, they could come together and forge a kind of synthesis, perhaps. Perhaps, as you say, a synthesis of existence and essence.
And I just wanted to add that it's telling at this time, especially what's happening on Occupy Wall Street, that there is that question of, at one point your character talks about the distance between technology and struggle, but I don't think it's so true anymore. I mean, technology is becoming part of struggle. Yes, there are still millions who don't have access to the technology and therefore are left out of the struggle. But what do you think about the fact that technology is becoming part of the struggle, starting from the Arabs?
Yes, you see, now this film is made at that time. Now this is a time has passed, but Occupy Wall Street it forms a very important part of my new film, which I'm doing, which again has this radical kind of, that long speech that my character delivers, in that he's trying to say that, he's trying to say that a lot of efforts were made, but it's generally man has tried to tame the world. But gradually the world is taming man, whether it's nature, and many things have happened to prove him right, like the tsunami hadn't occurred then, but then the tsunami did, and then the earthquakes did, and then the kind of violence after 9/11 in India, the 26/11, and so many other events. Actually, his predictions seem apocalyptic. Now, what you're saying is obviously technology has become a part of the struggle. As you know, in Egypt, it was Facebook and one person writing to another and then thousands. But what he is trying to say then is, then there would be different levels of technology. Then the argument would translate to who has a DV cam in his hand and who's working with an Alexa. So it's just a symbol, but the fact still remains that there is a divide. Even if you don't call it a digital divide, there is perhaps a north-south or an east-west or a me and you divide. So, and if I were to slightly theorize, perhaps what Jacques Derrida said in his famous lecture at the Johns Hopkins, that it is always these binaries which seem to freeze reality. If the binaries were able to move, like a dance of signifiers, then perhaps the marginal could also come forward and shake hands with the central, and there would be no center. So I think your question is very relevant in this regard.